City Council Speaker Christine Quinn. Christine Quinn, you've heard the debate raging today. I've got to say, from where I sit, it seems a pretty fatuous debate because, you know, in the end, people are complaining about having their lives very marginally disrupted, and it may have saved God knows how many lives. What is your view from an official point of view?
Well, from an official point of view, we really had to make decisions based on what we were hearing from the National Weather Service and other, you know, hurricane and governmental experts. And remember, we're talking about New York City here, right? We asked people in an area where there are about 300,000 people to evacuate. We needed time to do that, so we had to make the call for this early. It was also very important to remember that when the decision was made by our mass transit authority to shut down the subways and the buses. We needed 8 hours to do that, and then we needed time to move our train and bus equipment out of where we store it. It just happens we store it in low-lying areas, in the Rockaways. Moving that equipment out, closing down the subways, was really what enabled us to get them back up and running at 6 a.m. today. And the fact that the MTA had to run to was, if there are sustained, not gusts, sustained winds of 39 miles an hour or more, the subways cannot run. On Friday, all indications were that that was likely to happen, and you need time to move people and shut the system down. And based on what we knew, with all due respect, not from the media, but from weather services and governmental agencies, on Friday, we had to make that call.
I was in New York towards the end of last year, late December, when there was this 18-inch blizzard overnight. And coming from England, where 1 inch of snow basically renders the country incapacitated for several years, I couldn't believe that the mayor, Bloomberg, was getting hammered by the media within 48 hours for not clearing all the streets up. But he was being hammered, and it was quite clear to me then, also did a bit of research, that, you know, senior politicians in America get fired quite regularly for not reacting quick enough to the extremes of weather that you do get in this country. There is a cynical view, and it may or may not be cynical, that Mayor Bloomberg this time was determined not to get caught in that trap again, and so went overboard on Hurricane Irene. How would you respond to that?
You know, the snow response was absolutely an unacceptable response. We didn't do it. The city simply did not do its job delivering service to New Yorkers. No question about it. That's why we had very aggressive oversight hearings on that in the council. That said, what we put in plan, what the mayor put in place this past weekend, was a hurricane coastal plan that was developed in 2006. This wasn't a political plan, this wasn't a response to the snow. This was a plan that was developed after Katrina and implemented based on all of the weather data that we had. It really wasn't about politics. It was about what we could do to keep people safe, to protect our mass transit system, based on the info we had on Friday, really knowing we needed well over a day to get everything implemented.